Time now, though, for the markets with Layton, and the USDA released its monthly crop production update.
It did, and that is our lead story here in the markets at the almost midway point of June. Looking at our headlines this week, the USDA drops U.S. soybean ending stocks. U.S. cotton production and stocks are forecast to rise, while U.S. chicken company profits may be near a peak this year. As promised, we begin this segment with the new supply-demand projections from the government. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams focused on the corn and soybean estimates in particular when I interviewed him Wednesday afternoon.
Well, we're recording about 3 hours after the new report and new numbers came out. Let's talk about corn first. Were there any minor or major adjustments as far as the ending stocks?
With corn, there are actually no major surprises there. Everything across the board stayed the same. There was some expectations of some small changes, but really no big changes expected either.
All right, what about production itself as far as corn? Did the government change the picture for that?
They kept production the same, which again, it's not too big of a surprise. We're still early in the season and kind of waiting to see how the crop turns out. You know, right now the crop looks to be in real good condition, but that can change down the road.
How is the market, in your opinion, expected to take these numbers? Of course, it hadn't been out long enough to really say, but in the remainder in coming days here.
Well, looking at just the U.S. numbers, it's really not going to be a big mover there. Global numbers might bring it down a little bit, and it looks like at this point it has brought the prices down a little bit. There's been a 2 million ton increase in global production that's really could move it a little bit.
All right, switching over to soybeans now, again starting with the ending stocks, minor or major adjustments there?
There were some small adjustments, and again, it was kind of in line with expectations. Both new crop and old crop ending stocks were reduced by about 5 million bushels for the U.S.
All right, would you consider these to be numbers that will be reflected in market movement in coming days?
Well, it doesn't, on the surface, again, it doesn't look like it should affect the markets too much because it really wasn't outside of our expectations.
And I guess the same holds as far as soybean production in general, that number.
Right. Again, the crop looks really good, but it's still fairly early in the growing season, and so we'll have to wait another month or two to start seeing movement in the production.
So our next major market mover could be June 30th, the acreage report, I guess.
Yes, I think so.
More cotton in the U.S. this year is another headline out of that Wednesday's supply-demand report. The latest projections show higher production and higher ending stocks for 2014 and 15 compared to last month. DTN reports that one reason for the increase is the recent favorable rainfall in the Southwest. Meanwhile, the updated world projections for cotton include higher beginning and ending stocks, equivalent increases in production and consumption, and a decline in world cotton trade. Well, July Kansas City wheat posted its lowest close in over 3 months after those new numbers were released on Wednesday. The USDA increased its domestic and world ending stocks estimates for wheat for 2014 and 15. Analyst John Roach says the price slide in wheat was already well underway long before this week's new crop report. He says there are a number of factors at play.
The speculative buying that had been in the market started to leave and prices started to decline. Our cash bids are much above world price levels, so we lost some export business. And maybe the last thing is that we're finally seeing the grain situation in Ukraine and Russia seem relatively normal in view of the uncertainty in that situation. Having normal business occur was a real negative to the wheat market.
The National Biodiesel Board is urging President Obama not to retreat from his commitment to biofuels. Last November, you'll recall, the Environmental Protection Agency proposed reducing the biodiesel volume required under the renewable fuel standard. The biodiesel industry now says many fuel producers would indeed be forced to shut down if the EPA proposal is enacted. We break from the markets for a moment to look at the trivia quiz for this week, and our question is about Mississippi agriculture. Here it is. What county in the state has the most acres of land in farms? Is the answer Sunflower, Bolivar, Noxubee, or Holmes County? I'll tell you at the end of the markets. Wall Street analysts said this week that profits for U.S. chicken companies could peak this year or early next year. The traders told their website meetingplace.com that some supporting factors for poultry prices will likely be ending. Now, these factors include a smaller breeding flock and also the impact of the PED virus on pork prices, which is, of course, a competing meat at the retail counter. From chicken to the fat cattle market now, where there is some indication of more supply potentially coming into the pipeline soon. Analyst Virgil Robinson told Market to Market's Mike Pearson that demand remains good, and so should price levels.
There's been some convergence between price of cash and the June futures contract, and to a lesser degree, the August. It's common knowledge, I think, that if the recent cattle and feed reports are accurate, we'll see an increase in show lists beginning quite soon. So that would suggest then an increase in available product. Demand remains strong, and I think we'll sustain this $135 to $140 price level.
Tyson Foods has outbid Pilgrim's Pride for Hillshire Brands. The offer was $63 per share in cash. That brings the total price to $8.5 billion. Analysts say the Tyson-Hillshire merger would reposition Tyson as the clear leader in the retail sale of prepared foods. Before our feature story, here's the trivia answer for this week. The correct choice is B. Bolivar County in the Delta has the most acres of land in farms.